This guy is the best. How does that make you feel? I know you're kind of chuckling now because we can joke about it, but you're the best player in the nation for anybody in high school.
It feels good. It's great confidence, but you have to keep moving on. Because I know a lot of guys who've been #1 in the past years, and it just fell off a cliff.
From being a little kid in a new country with no friends to being an NBA and world icon, Kobe Bryant has truly had one of the most worldwide known and inspiring journeys to fame. Today I'm going to be going in depth to tell the whole life story of Kobe Bryant and his path to becoming a global icon. What's going on, everyone? Thank you all for clicking on this video. If you enjoy it, I would really appreciate it if you dropped a like and left a comment. Only 1% of you guys that watch my videos are subscribed. It takes less than 5 seconds and you can always change your mind. I spend a lot of time and effort making these videos, and all your support really means the world. So Kobe Bryant was born on August 23rd, 1978 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He was the youngest of 3 children and son of former NBA player Joe Bryant. Joe Bryant played for the Philadelphia 76ers, San Diego Clippers, and Houston Rockets. He also spent time playing in France and in Italy, which is where Kobe grew up. Kobe started playing basketball when he was just 3 years old, and his favorite NBA team was the Lakers when he was growing up. Kobe was 6 when his dad left the NBA and took his family to Italy. Kobe had to adjust and learn a new language, so eventually he knew both English and fluent Italian. Kobe took basketball seriously very early on, and his grandfather would mail him videos of NBA games for Bryant to study. From 1987 to 1989, his father played for Olympia, where he played with former Piston Leon Douglas. Kobe would work at the games as the ball and mop boy and would practice shooting at halftime. Douglas even said, "At every one of our games at halftime, it was the Kobe show. He'd get out there and he'd get his shots up. We'd come out of the locker room at halftime and have to chase him off the court." Soccer also had a big influence in Kobe's life, of course growing up in Italy, but basketball was always his #1. Kobe would go back to the United States every summer for his summer league basketball team, and when he was 13, the Bryant family would permanently move back to the United States. Since Kobe was always on the move, he didn't really have any friends growing up. He said, "Growing up in Italy, when I first moved there, I didn't speak Italian, I didn't have any friends. I had the game of basketball, and through sports, through soccer, I was able to make and build connections, but it was a lot of time spent alone." He also said, "When I came back to the States, I wasn't the most athletic kid. I couldn't compete with these kids. They're doing windmills and dunking backwards, and I'm happy to tap the backboard. So I had to look at it from a long-term perspective because I wasn't going to give up on the game." Kobe's biggest weapon was his mentality. He would always keep his mind on the long term and would never allow anyone to look down on him or tell him he couldn't do something. Kobe Bryant attended Lower Merion High School in Ardmore, located in the Philadelphia suburb of Lower Merion. He also played on the varsity basketball team as a freshman. He became the first freshman in decades to start for Lower Merion's varsity team, but the team finished with an awful 4-20 record. This didn't last long though, because the next 3 following seasons, the Aces went 77-13, with Kobe as the star of the team playing all 5 positions. Bryant averaged 31 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, and 4 blocks in his junior season at Lower Merion. He was named the Pennsylvania Player of the Year while also earning a 4th Team Parade All-American nomination. This season gained Kobe tons of attraction from college recruiters and landed him offers to play pretty much anywhere he wanted. His biggest offers were Duke, North Carolina, Michigan, and Villanova. However, after Kobe saw Kevin Garnett get drafted straight out of high school in the 1st round, that is the route he wanted to go. While still in high school, 76ers coach John Lucas invited Bryant to work out and scrimmage with the team, where he played one-on-one with Jerry Stackhouse. In his senior season, Kobe led the Aces to their first state championship in 53 years. During the run, he was putting up an incredible average of 31 points, 12 rebounds, 6.5 assists, 4 steals, and 4 blocks, while also leading the team to a 31-3 record. So he took his high school team from 4-20 to 31-3 pretty much by himself in 3 years. Kobe obviously ended his high school career as Southeastern Pennsylvania's all-time leading scorer with 2,883 points. Wrapping up Kobe's high school career, he received several awards for his outstanding performance during his senior season at Lower Merion. He was named the Naismith High School Player of the Year, Gatorade National Player of the Year, and was a McDonald's All-American. Following high school, Bryant's news to go straight to the league was met with a lot of publicity at the time. Going prep to pro was not very common at the time for NBA players. Before the 1996 NBA draft, Bryant had worked out in Los Angeles, where he scrimmaged against former Lakers players Larry Drew and Michael Cooper, and according to Lakers GM Jerry West, he marched all over those people. So on June 26, in 1966, Kobe Bryant was drafted in a trade by the Los Angeles Lakers at just 17 years old. The Lakers originally were trying to trade Vlade Divac for a draft pick to free up salary cap space to make an offer to free agent center Shaquille O'Neal. Little did the Lakers know they were trading for a future world superstar. The Hornets were the team that traded away that pick to the Lakers, and they never were even thinking about drafting Kobe at the time, so he wasn't even on their radar. Since Kobe was still 17 at the time, his parents had to co-sign his contract with the Lakers until he was able to sign his own when he turned 18 before the season began. Kobe Bryant made his debut in the Summer Pro League in Long Beach, California. He scored 25 points in front of a standing room only crowd. Defenders struggled to guard him, and his performance excited Jerry West and Lakers head coach Del Harris. During his rookie season, Kobe mainly came off the bench behind guards Eddie Jones and Nick Van Zyl. Kobe was good enough to be starting, but since he was the second youngest player to ever come into the league, the Lakers wanted to give it some time. By the end of the season, he averaged up to about 16 minutes a game, and during All-Star Weekend, Bryant participated in the Rookie Challenge and won the 1997 Slam Dunk Contest, becoming the youngest dunk champion at the age of 18. Later in that season, the Lakers advanced to the Western Conference semifinals against the Utah Jazz. When Bryant was forced to be the leader in that game due to injuries and ejections, Kobe airballed 4 shots in the final moments of the game, in which the Lakers lost. Shaquille O'Neal later commented about how Kobe was the only one with the guts to take those kind of shots. In his second season with the Lakers, Kobe began to show the world what he was capable of. His average almost doubled from 8 to 15 points per game, and he began getting more minutes. Bryant was the runner-up for the NBA's 6th Man of the Year award, and through fan voting, he also became the youngest NBA All-Star starter in NBA history. The 1999 season is when Kobe would really break out into a superstar. The Lakers traded away some of the ball handlers around him that were holding him back. During the season, Bryant signed a 6-year contract extension worth $70 million that would keep him with the Lakers through 2004. As years went on, Kobe Bryant started to dominate the league, earning many All-Star appearances alongside Shaquille O'Neal. Some sports writers were already comparing Kobe's playstyle to Michael Jordan and other all-time greats. The Lakers were starting to dominate the league, and in the year 2000, they won their first championship and would end up winning 2 more in a row to complete a three-peat. Not everything went completely smoothly for Kobe throughout his early career. He suffered from a few injuries and different setbacks, but it was easy to tell he was going to be a star from the first time he stepped foot on an NBA court. Kobe claimed his first All-Star MVP trophy in 2002 after a 31-point performance in Philadelphia, where he was loudly booed by fans throughout the game. His earlier comment to a 76ers heckler during the finals was that the Lakers were going to cut your hearts out. Kobe Bryant grew as a player and a person throughout his NBA career. He ended up winning 5 total championships with the Lakers and is considered to be a top 10 all-time NBA player. Kobe's final season came in 2016, where the Lakers struggled heavily, but this was just a farewell tour for him. Kobe was getting up in age, and he even acknowledged his declining skills, so that's why he made the decision to retire. This didn't stop him from being critical of his team though, and there was an iconic story from Jeremy Lin about how one day he came into the Lakers practice facility to yell at every player about how lazy they were and how they didn't care that they were losing so much. When Kobe retired, he spent a lot of his time with his family and teaching basketball to his daughter Gianna until their tragic death. Gianna's dream was to play in the WNBA, and Kobe did everything possible to try to make that happen for her. Kobe would talk about Gianna, saying how she was a female version of him. One other story about Kobe after his retirement was in 2013. He had a legal disagreement with an auction house over memorabilia from his early years that his mother had up for auction. Bryant's mother received $450,000 from the auction house for these items and contended that Bryant had given her the rights to these items she had remaining in her home. However, Bryant's lawyers asked the auction house to return the items. A settlement was eventually reached, allowing the auction house to sell less than 10% of them. Bryant's parents apologized to him for the misunderstanding in a written statement and appreciated the financial support he had given them over the years. There's so many more stories and events about Kobe's life that I could talk about, but I can't get to everything. Kobe inspired so many people with his insane work ethic and Mamba mentality. From getting up at 3 in the morning to doing 4 workouts in a day, there are very few people in this world capable of doing what he did throughout his life. That's going to be the end of this video. Let me know in the comments below what player I should make one on next. This video took a long time to plan out and make, so I would really appreciate all your support. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, I'll see you all later.